Hello, my name is Kieran Hayes and welcome to my Brightin Star 50mm f0.95 review. And in this video, you're going to join me on what has been a real roller coaster of a few weeks of using this lens with massive highs and some serious lows. We'll deep dive into its build quality and handling, its image quality, the real world use cases for this lens, and its insane price. And is it really value for money? Or just a big heavy doorstop? So yeah, come on, let's get into it and I'll talk you through it all. Okay, first things first. Brightin Star did send this lens out to me for this review, but I was not paid for this review and they clearly had no input into it. So these are my own thoughts on this mad little yoke. Let me talk you through my first thoughts on opening the box, as this is where this lens just hits a bit different for me. I was already confused when I popped the box onto my desk, as I just couldn't understand where the weight was coming from. But as soon as I opened the box, as soon as you felt the lens, it was very apparent. It's all in the optics of this absolute monster. Just look at that. If you can see that there now. This lens does feel incredibly well built though. Like, it genuinely does. I would say if you attacked someone with this lens, it would surely be considered assault with a deadly weapon. It's like a brick. Now, in saying that, it does only weigh about 785 grams. So I'm probably giving you the wrong impression here. It's not heavy, but for a 50mm prime lens, it's an awful lot heavier than a lot of, or any of my 50mm prime lenses that I have here. Now, one of the things I really love about this lens is this inbuilt retractable lens hood. So it's a metal lens hood that you can simply twist and pop back down along again. It's a really nice feature to have on a lens. And then we have the all metal aperture ring. That feels really solid and really well built. The manual focus ring is again really solid, really smooth, and there's a nice long throw on it too as well, so it gives you a bit more accuracy when you're using manual focus, because yes, this is a manual focus lens. The all metal body and metal mount are again quality, and this all just left me absolutely bursting to try this lens out. Now, if you're thinking, wow, I need to go out and buy one of these lenses straight away, then wait, because there is a serious twist in this story as of yet. And, you know, I'm going to have to do something I've never done before in a lens review, and that's break this review into two sections. So bear with me as I try to explain why this is an absolute first. I so badly wanted to absolutely love every bit of this lens, and I had incredibly high expectations of it, and on opening it out of the box, I was blown away. So later on that day, I rushed out and I took some photos with this beauty, and I was genuinely very underwhelmed by the results I got. Now, this was just me out taking photographs by myself of stationary or static objects, but the results weren't great. So I decided to do test chart images, and that's where this lens didn't do well at all. I should also mention here, I have run these test chart images now multiple times with the same results on this lens. So let's start with a shot here at f0.95, and straight away it looks like someone got some Vaseline and just smeared it all over the lens. I genuinely had to look to see if there was a layer of condensation on the lens after I took this shot. It's also lacking contrast, as you can see. Distortion isn't great, and vignetting is strong enough too. Now, the vignetting goes away when we stop the lens down a bit. At f2, it's good, and at f2.8, it's gone. In fairness, this is also easily corrected in post-processing. The distortion, as you can see, is clear, but again, we can correct this in post-processing as it's fairly even across the frame, so no serious issues here either. So as we zoom into the center now at 100% at f0.95, and you can see this is clearly soft. It is so soft. Stopping down to f1.4 helps sharpness, but you can also see a nice improvement in contrast. Stopping down to f2 now brings us a touch more contrast, again with a bit more sharpness. But from f2.8 we can really see this lens starts to get really sharp now. Now please don't draw your conclusions here as of yet. There is a load more to come with a big surprise at the end, and I really do mean a big surprise. Let's look at corner sharpness, and again we're zoomed in at 100%, and at f0.95 corner sharpness is horrible, as you'd expect out of any lens shot wide open. At f1.4 it improves, and at f2 it's getting better, at f2.8 now, and we're starting to see more detail. Then at f4 it's better again. At f5.6, I would say this is very good. At f8, corner sharpness is excellent. Looking at chromatic aberration now, it has shown up for me at times, especially in very heavily backlit scenes. You can even see in this image here there some lateral chromatic aberration around the Nikon logo, but you can correct it in post-processing. Looking at flaring here now, and this is something I noticed, especially more so at f0.95. When you stop down the lens, it's not quite as bad. But when the lens is wide open, there's quite a bit of flaring. And you'll also notice there's a bit of light leak just at the end there too as well. Looking at bokeh now, and the first thing you'll notice here is in the foreground we have cat's eyes in our lights. As you go directly behind our subject, they're more symmetrical. But once we stop down along to f1.4, the lights in the foreground are more symmetrical. But you'll notice something. The lights aren't as round now as a result. And that's down to the diaphragm blades not being rounded, as you can see in this image here now. And now we're stopped down to f2. And as you can see, it looks more like a decagon than a round ball of light in the background. There's 10 different slopes on these lights as such. And that continues the whole way down through the aperture range then. I think it's safe to say these test chart images have not been incredibly positive. And that was my problem with this lens all along. But none of these are real world images. So I decided to change that. So I headed out with my daughter and I took some photographs. And as soon as I looked through the viewfinder, I thought, what? This kind of looks a bit interesting. Now, this is a small screen I was looking through and I was thinking, I kind of like this. There's a look out of this lens. But anyway, I'm going to start off with the first shot here now. So this is going to give you an idea of what the background was like in the photograph. I took this at f8, so you can see there's a lot of different textures here now. There's a lot of different structures in the background. There's a lot of variations. These are the types of backgrounds I normally deal with. So I thought, look, I'm going to use this and I'm going to see how real world images look. So moving on to our first photograph here now, and this was shot at f0.95. And you can see how this lens renders backgrounds here now. And I have to say, this kind of surprised me. So much so that I immediately showed my wife the shot. And she absolutely loved it. And to be honest with you, so did I. The next 4 photographs here are still at f0.95, but shot closer to highlight the kind of shallow depth of field you can get from this lens. Now, these are the sort of backgrounds, as I said already, I tend to deal with a lot on my photo shoots. And it was really starting to impress me here now. There's a really nice character to this lens, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I really enjoyed using it. The soft results at f0.95 yield images with a diffusion-like effect that really helps to soften skin. The lower contrast or lack of punch from the lens also helps soften or sort out skin imperfections. Even through the EVF, I could see the way this lens was rendering very pleasing, unique style portraits. Then I stopped down to f1.4 for the next 3 shots here now. And you can see sharpness has improved, and yet we still have that gorgeously shallow depth of field. But we still have some of those unique characteristics this lens provides. Then at f2 now, and sharpness is starting to get really good. As good as you generally possibly want from a portrait lens like this anyway. The final shot here now is a close-up shot at f0.95. And I love that. I truly do. This lens has unbelievably turned it around for me completely. It's not about sharpness, contrast, vignetting or distortion. It's like these imperfections blend together to create this wonderful effect with no editing. It's just there like magic. And the best part for me is if you only want a few photographs with this sort of character or style in it, then you can stop the lens down to f2 or f2.8 and you'll get more normal style photographs. Heck, even at f1.4, it offers a different variation or a different slant on the style of image you're going to get. This is absolutely hysterical, and I genuinely can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually highly rate this lens now. It's completely mad. It has been a real beauty to use. I have absolutely loved and adored using this lens, crazily, and in all honesty, this has produced some of my favourite images from this year already. It just goes to show, sometimes imperfections can create something unique. And that's what this lens is. This lens is incredibly unique. If you want something that's pin sharp and just really cranks up the contrast, this lens is not for you. But if you want something with character, if you want something that creates unique images, like without having to do any editing, this lens is absolutely brilliant. Genuinely, I can't believe I'm saying that. I was in turmoil for a couple of days wondering what I'm going to do about this review. I genuinely was. I talked to my wife about this. I showed her the test chart images and she looked at me and she said, "Is it faulty?" Heck, I even emailed Brightin Star because I was convinced there was something wrong with it. But it's just the way this lens presents images. It's as simple as that. It's just so different. It's just so different. It's unique. It is incredibly unique. So yeah, this has been the shock of the year for me in product reviews. It genuinely has. This is just flipped around completely and I just genuinely can't believe it. What are the drawbacks and what haven't I mentioned already? Well, the first thing is there's no EXIF data saved to the camera, so your camera won't display what lens was used, what focal length or aperture, and you can't use vibration reduction either. This is also fully manual, and using a manual lens can be tricky, especially at f0.95, but there are ways of working around that. Focus peaking is great, and shooting in burst mode with very slight tweaks to the focus is what I generally do when I'm using a manual focus lens. Now, is it for everyone? No, it's not. But if you're a portrait shooter looking for seriously fast glass and unique images, then this could very well be for you. So yeah, that's it. This review went from a massive thumbs up to me crying to actually loving this lens. Sure, it's no wonder I'm going grey when you're dealing with stuff like this. So, what do you think? Would you buy one? I know I wanted to buy one, then I didn't want to buy one, and now I want to buy one. Now, on a side note, I want to say I got a new good quality supplier for my t-shirts, and I did a deal on a much better price, so I've reduced the prices on them, and from next week on, I'll be offering ye a 33% off discount code for the next month if you want to buy one. That's just a simple thank you from me to all of you for supporting my channel. And I'll pop up another video on that, as there are some pretty funny t-shirts in there for us photographers. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and see you out there, or see you in the next video.